My cousin Tasha filmed my mom and Uncle Ray calling me a sugar daddy behind my back after I paid all their bills. So I canceled everything, blocked them all, and booked a one-way ticket to Europe. No regrets. It was almost midnight when the email pinged onto my laptop. I was still at the firm, finishing a drainage proposal for the new arts center project, when I saw it. Just a subject line. LMAO from Tasha. I clicked it without thinking. Tasha was my younger cousin, impulsive, a little wild, but mostly harmless. At least, that's what I used to believe. The link opened to a grainy video. The setting hit me first. Uncle Ray's backyard. I recognized the grill I bought last summer when Uncle's old one finally gave out. The folding tables, the string lights, even the spread of food. I paid for all of it. Every last burger and paper plate. The video wobbled and zoomed in on a group gathered by the fire pit. Uncle Ray sat in the middle, beer in hand, smirking like he was about to say something brilliant. You know, Liam acts like he's building the damn city single-handed, Uncle Ray said, slurring a little. The others laughed. My mom, perched on a lawn chair with a wine glass, chuckled and waved her hand. Oh, leave him alone, she said, but there was no real defense in her voice. He means well. His little projects are like cute charity work. Charity for concrete. She burst into louder laughter, wiping at her eyes. The laughter that followed wasn't polite. It wasn't playful. It was sharp and mean and real. Tasha, filming from somewhere just behind the hedge, giggled audibly. Maybe if he didn't throw money around like he's buying sainthood, he wouldn't be so miserable. That line got the biggest laugh of all. Even my mom cackled, tilting her head back. I sat there, frozen. Every bit of generosity I'd shown over the years, the barbecues, the birthday parties, the utility bills I'd quietly paid when notices showed up in their mail, all of it boiled down to one ugly joke. For a second, I told myself maybe it was just the angle. Maybe I'd missed the context. Maybe they weren't really mocking me. But then Uncle Ray lifted his beer in a fake toast and said, "To our favorite sugar daddy," and they all clinked their drinks together like it was the funniest thing they'd ever heard. My mouth went dry. I closed the laptop, but the laughter kept ringing in my ears. Charity for concrete. Sugar daddy. Buying sainthood. I looked around my office, the blueprints stacked neatly on one desk, the awards lining the shelves. I had built everything I had with my own hands, late nights like this, giving up weekends, relationships, sleep. And they didn't see any of it. Worse, they didn't want to. I swallowed hard, a dull throb pressing behind my eyes. That backyard, that food, those decorations, I paid for it all. And still, I was just the family fool. Somewhere in the distance, the janitor's cart squeaked down the hallway. I sat there long after the laptop dimmed, the office dark except for the streetlights outside, realizing something that made my stomach turn. They didn't love me. They loved what I gave them. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat on the couch staring at the dark ceiling, the video playing over and over in my mind. By sunrise, the anger had burned off the sadness, leaving something sharper underneath. At 8 in the morning, I finally picked up my phone and called Tasha. She answered after the second ring, her voice syrupy sweet. Hey, big spender. What's up? I didn't waste time. Why did you post that video, Tasha? She laughed like I was being ridiculous. Come on, Liam. It's just a joke. Lighthearted content, you know? Don't be so sensitive. Lighthearted. Right. Listening to my mother and uncle tear me down behind my back. Hilarious. You knew exactly what you were doing, I said, my voice steady even though my heart was hammering. You filmed it. You edited it. You added captions. She snorted. Oh my God. Are you seriously mad? Nobody made you pay for all that stuff. You throw your money around like it's confetti at a parade, and then you act shocked when people notice. The words hit harder than I expected, like she was peeling back all the justifications I had whispered to myself for years. Helping them wasn't charity. It wasn't kindness. It was buying affection. Or trying to. Nobody asked you to pay for the grill, or the food, or the bounce house last year, or Uncle Ray's back rent, she continued, her voice getting sharper. You just show up with your wallet open like some sad little martyr. I gripped the phone tighter, breathing slow through my nose. Part of me wanted to scream. Another part wanted to cry. Instead, I swallowed it down. Got it, I said, keeping my voice cool. Thanks for clearing that up. Oh, don't be like that. Her tone flipped into fake concern. You know we love you. We're family. I almost laughed at how easily the word family rolled off her tongue after everything she had posted for strangers to laugh at. Save it, Tasha, I said quietly. I'm done. There was a pause. I could almost hear her trying to figure out if I was bluffing. Done with what? She asked finally, her voice uneasy. Done paying. Done helping. Done pretending we're something we're not. Don't be dramatic, she started, but I was already moving the phone away from my ear. I'm done, I said one last time, more to myself than to her, and ended the call. For the first time in years, the silence felt good. The next morning, I woke up with a different kind of energy humming in my chest. Cold. Focused. I made coffee, sat at my kitchen table, and opened my laptop. It was time to stop talking and start doing. First, I logged into my online banking. I scrolled through the list of auto payments, the ones I had set up quietly over the years. The electricity bill for my mom's house. The water bill for Uncle Ray. Part of my brother Caleb's tuition loan. One by one, I canceled them all. Confirm cancellation. Confirm cancellation. Confirm cancellation. The final click felt like slamming a door shut. I sat back and let out a slow breath. Lighter. That was the only way to describe it. Like I'd been carrying around a backpack full of rocks and just now realized I could put it down. My phone buzzed around noon, Caleb. I didn't answer. Then Uncle Ray. Then my mom. I turned the phone face down on the table and left it there, buzzing and buzzing like a dying wasp. By evening, I had gone through everything. Credit cards I co-signed, automatic rent drafts, even the old PayPal account Tasha used to borrow from whenever she needed gas money or concert tickets. Gone. Blocked. Locked. I poured myself a glass of wine and stared out the window of my apartment. It looked the same as always, the same view of the downtown skyline, the same soft rumble of the subway a few blocks away, but it felt different. Sacred, almost. For the first time, my home wasn't just a stopover between work and family emergencies. It was mine. Around 9 that night, my phone lit up again. Mom. Again. 17 missed calls, and counting. I watched the screen flash her name, felt the old reflex to pick up, apologize somehow, smooth it over. But I didn't move. Instead, I slipped on a jacket and stepped outside into the cool spring air. I walked down the street, past the closed shops and the sleepy cafes, until I reached the little lake by my apartment complex. It was almost completely still, the water dark and glassy under the streetlights. I sat on a bench and watched the ripples spread out from a single duck drifting lazily near the shore. Alone, but not lonely. For the first time in my adult life, I wasn't carrying anyone else's weight. And it felt incredible. It was 2 days later when the banging started. I was halfway through making dinner, something simple, just pasta and garlic bread, when someone pounded on the door like they were about to break it down. I wiped my hands on a towel and checked the peephole. It was my mom. Her face was twisted into a scowl, a crumpled piece of mail clenched in one hand. I already knew what it was, the water shut-off notice. I took a breath, opened the door just enough to block most of the doorway with my body. She wasted no time. What the hell is wrong with you, Liam? She snapped, shoving the paper in my face. The water's off. Your uncle's electricity is next. Caleb's loan company is calling nonstop. I leaned against the doorframe, crossing my arms calmly. That's unfortunate, I said. She gaped at me like I'd grown 2 heads. You promised you'd handle these things. You can't just walk away because of some dumb video. I didn't promise anything, I said, keeping my voice steady. I volunteered. Big difference. Oh, don't play semantics with me, she hissed. You knew we were depending on you. You can't do this to family. I reached behind the door and pulled out a thick manila folder. I had spent the past 2 nights filling it. Bank statements, wire transfers, receipts, screenshots of text requests, Venmo receipts tagged, emergency, favor, just this once. I held it out. She didn't take it, just stared at it like it might bite her. These are the last 5 years, I said. Every dollar. Every favor. Every time you said, just until we get back on our feet. Her mouth worked like she wanted to argue, but couldn't find the words. You didn't get blindsided today, I said. You built this. Brick by brick. Bill by bill. She crossed her arms, shifting to her favorite weapon, guilt. You'll regret this, she said, her voice low and warning. You'll be old and alone, and when you realize you need family, we won't be there. I nodded slowly. Maybe. Then, without another word, I stepped back and started closing the door. Her hand shot out to block it. Liam, don't you dare. But I kept pushing, gently but firmly, until the door clicked shut between us. For a second, I just stood there, hand on the handle, listening to her muffled voice rant and curse from the hallway. Then silence. I locked the deadbolt and leaned my forehead against the door. For years, she had the final word in every argument. The guilt, the tears, the "you owe us" speeches. Always closing the door on me. But not anymore. This time, I was the one closing the door. And it felt like winning. I wasn't planning to go. Honestly, I thought I was done. But then Tasha posted a picture on Instagram, a cozy family dinner spread, captioned, "Family first. Always." I stared at the photo for a long minute. All of them gathered around Uncle Ray's dining table, laughing, smiling like nothing had happened, like I had never existed. And that's when I knew. I wasn't done yet. I threw on a jacket, grabbed a folder from the bookshelf, the same one I had shown my mother, and got in the car. When I pulled up outside Uncle Ray's place, the lights were blazing. Laughter spilled out through the open windows. For a second, I almost turned around. But then I pictured that backyard, that grill, that food I bought. The way they laughed behind my back. Charity for concrete. And I walked up the driveway. No one noticed me right away. They were too busy passing dishes, chattering about Caleb's new promotion, Tasha's latest TikTok success. All the usual small talk that used to fill these gatherings. I stood there for a full minute before Uncle Ray finally looked up. "Well, look what the cat dragged in," he said with a wide grin. "Decided you missed us after all, huh?" The table chuckled nervously. I stepped closer, set the folder down in the center of the table. "I'm not here to catch up," I said. "I'm here for answers." The laughter died instantly. "What's your problem now?" Tasha asked, rolling her eyes like I was some petty little brother. "My problem," I said, flipping open the folder, "is that for years I paid for everything, the parties, the mortgages, the tuition, while you all laughed behind my back." I pulled out a thick, folded document and slid it across the table toward Uncle Ray. His face paled when he unfolded it. It was a copy of the will. Their will. The one I wasn't in. "You had this drawn up months ago," I said. "You made it official. I'm not family. Just an ATM." Silence. Then Tasha leaned back, smirking. "Oh my God. Are you seriously throwing a tantrum because of a piece of paper? Grow up, Liam." "Piece of paper?" I said, my voice colder than I thought possible. "You erased me. And you laughed while you did it." Uncle Ray cleared his throat awkwardly. "Now, let's not blow this out of proportion." "Blow it out of proportion?" I snapped. "You made jokes about my career, my generosity, my life. You made it clear exactly where I stand." Tasha scoffed, folding her arms. "You're mad because you have no life. No wife, no kids, no real ambition. All you have is your sad little apartment and your sad little buildings." Something inside me cracked. I grabbed the wine glass nearest to me, not full, but enough, and with one clean movement, hurled it at the wall behind them. The glass shattered, spraying shards across the floor. Everyone jumped. A few gasped. Uncle Ray flinched like I had thrown it at him. I stared at them, breathing hard, feeling years of buried rage boiling to the surface. "You know what?" I said, my voice shaking. "You can have it. The fake family, the fake smiles, the fake loyalty. You deserve each other." And then I turned around and walked out without another word. Behind me, they all sat frozen at the table, the broken glass glittering on the floor like a warning. I didn't run. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. For the first time in my life, I walked away on my terms. The fallout started faster than I expected. By the next morning, the family group chat, the one I had muted months ago, was blowing up with messages. Panic mostly. Water shutoffs. Credit card declines. Late mortgage notices piling up on kitchen counters. Apparently, when you take away the guy funding the fantasy, the whole house of cards collapses pretty quick. I didn't answer any of them. I didn't need to. From a distance, I watched it all unfold through little glimpses on social media and secondhand whispers. Uncle Ray selling his truck. Caleb putting his college plans on hold. Tasha begging for GoFundMe donations for unexpected financial hardship. It would have been funny if it wasn't so sad. They didn't post about me, of course. That would have meant admitting the truth that without their favorite sugar daddy, things fell apart. Instead, Tasha went into overdrive trying to spin the story. She posted selfies with tearful captions about betrayal and family backstabbers. She wrote vague posts about someone being vindictive and selfish. I watched it all quietly, sipping my coffee from the same ratty armchair I'd had for years. Let her talk. People aren't as stupid as she thinks. The sympathy she was fishing for dried up fast when the real story leaked, that all those barbecues and parties and bills had been paid for by the guy they called a fool behind his back. I didn't respond to any of it. I didn't need to. It was a Friday night when I got the message. It came from Maya, my cousin on the other side of the family. The one who had always stayed a little distant from the chaos, who had moved out of state and quietly built a life away from all the noise. Maya, you did the right thing. Proud of you. Just 6 words. But they hit harder than any apology ever could. I sat there for a long time, staring at the message, feeling something in my chest loosen. Something that had been knotted up so tightly for so many years, I didn't even realize how much it hurt until it started to ease. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't selfish. I wasn't alone. I put my phone down and leaned back, letting the silence fill the apartment. It didn't feel empty anymore. It felt like freedom. The first apology came 3 days later. A long, rambling voicemail from my mother, half crying, half scolding. We overreacted, sweetheart. You know how families are. We say things we don't mean. Then came the anger when I didn't call back. Tasha posted another cryptic jab online, something about people who think cutting off family makes them strong when it really makes them pathetic. I didn't respond. I just blocked her account and kept living my life. Next came Uncle Ray, with his version of a peace offering, a text at 2 in the morning that simply said, "Let's forget the drama. Come over. We'll cook burgers like old times." Burgers bought with whose money? I wondered. Still, I said nothing. The attempts kept coming, like waves against a seawall. First nostalgia, remember when we all went to the beach that summer? Then guilt, your mother's not sleeping, Liam. Then desperation, Caleb might have to drop out of school. You can fix this. Every time my phone buzzed, I felt the old reflex twitch in my gut, the pull to answer, to help, to fix it all again. But I didn't. Because every time I hesitated, I pictured that video. That backyard. Those laughs. It wasn't just one bad night. It was the truth finally dragging itself into the sunlight. A month later, the calls slowed. The messages dried up. They realized I wasn't coming back. Maya kept me updated now and then, short and simple texts that never pushed. Maya, they're coping. Barely. Tasha moved back in with Ray. Caleb's working 2 jobs. Your mom's furious you're punishing her. I just smiled at the messages and kept going. Every morning, I brewed my coffee, worked my job, went for walks by the lake. I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. If anything, I was finally starting to live. For years, I thought if I stopped helping, I'd be drowning in guilt. But instead, I realized something better. I wasn't the villain in their story. I was just the one who finally stepped off their sinking ship. A couple of weeks after everything settled, I made a decision. I walked into my boss's office and quit my second job, the side hustle I had picked up years ago to keep up with all the emergency family expenses. I didn't even feel scared handing over the resignation letter. Just free. The next weekend, I moved out of my old apartment into a minimalist studio in a high-rise downtown, one of the buildings I had helped design during my early years at the firm. It wasn't flashy. No marble countertops or fancy fixtures. Just clean lines, bright windows, and peace. When I hung the first picture frame, a simple black and white blueprint of my favorite project, it finally hit me. This space was mine, bought with my own work, built on my terms. I celebrated my birthday a few weeks later, for the first time without a forced family dinner full of fake smiles and snide comments. I didn't throw a party. Instead, I bought myself a gift, a ticket to Europe for an architectural tour I had dreamed about since college. Italy, France, Spain. A whole month of wandering through cities where the buildings had stood longer than my family's loyalty ever did. The flight confirmation email came in just after midnight. I stared at it for a long time, smiling in a way I hadn't in years. No one to answer to. No one to beg for permission from. Just me, and the life I was finally giving myself permission to have. The next morning, I found a little cafe near my new place, the kind of place with scratched tables, cheap coffee, and no expectation to hurry up and leave. I sat by the window, a worn sketchpad open in front of me. I hadn't drawn anything for fun in years, but that morning, the lines came easily. Loose, messy sketches of rooftops and old brick walls and alleyways I'd barely explored yet. My phone buzzed on the table. It was Maya. Maya, they're still mad. But I'm proud of you. I stared at the message for a second, feeling a strange warmth in my chest. I didn't need their forgiveness. I didn't need their approval. I didn't need them at all. Outside the window, the city moved, people rushing to work, dogs tugging their owners across crosswalks, food carts setting up for the lunch crowd. Life went on. And finally, so was I. A few days before my flight to Europe, I sat at my tiny kitchen table, sipping coffee and staring at a blank email draft. For a while, I wasn't sure if I should bother. They didn't deserve an explanation. But this wasn't for them. It was for me. I started typing. No flowery language. No cheap shots. Just the truth. Subject, goodbye. I saw the video. I heard every laugh. I saw every eye roll and smirk when you thought I wasn't paying attention. For years, I told myself that helping you meant something. That love was shown in favors, in money, in forgiveness. I believed if I gave enough, I could earn a seat at the table. I was wrong. You made your choice. You laughed at me, used me, erased me when it suited you. And now, I'm making mine. I'm walking away. Not out of anger, though for a long time, I was angry. Not out of bitterness, though you taught me plenty about that too. I'm walking away because I finally realized my worth doesn't live in your approval. It lives in the life I'm building, the one you'll never be part of again. Good luck. Goodbye. Liam. I read it twice before hitting send. No dramatic group chat announcement. No posted screenshots. Just a simple message dropped into their inboxes like a stone thrown into a lake. And then I blocked them. All of them. Phone numbers. Emails. Social media. For the first time in my life, there was no open line, no emergency exit they could use to crawl back into my life. When I finished, I sat back in the chair and let the silence settle around me. It wasn't heavy like it used to be. It was clean, clear, full of possibility. Later that night, I packed my bag for the trip. Just one suitcase, a sketch pad, a camera, a passport. No ghosts, no chains. Just me. A new beginning, built entirely on my own terms. And as the city lights flickered outside my window, I realized something that made me smile. I wasn't leaving anything important behind. I had already taken the most important thing with me. Myself.